What's up, good people, and welcome back to my channel where we bond over our favorite TV shows, trending topics, and everything in between that we care about. So today I am coming to you with a reaction video to another report from Roland Martin, who has been doing a great job in highlighting the predatory practices of Darius Crooks, especially in regards to the cyberbullying and doxing piece. And so, as some of you may know, a couple days ago, Roland Martin did his first piece where he interviewed Melanie Ford in regards to her experience with being doxed and cyberbullied by Darius Williams and his D-Hive followers who, you know, sent her threats, called her personal number, threatened to harm her and her parents, who did not even live with her, so they had both addresses, etc. And so, in this part 2, Roland Martin is now interviewing the Hollands family, who were more recent doxing victims of Darius Crooks, or Darius Williams. So just a little background to tie together more pieces of this huge puzzle, this elaborate puzzle and web. So Danielle Hollands has been a part of the Exposing Darius Crooks coalition since last summer, after the Kitchenista started to expose Darius Crooks using her large platform. And so Danielle has been around a very long time and been in this fight a very long time. And so that means this is like nothing new with this whole situation with her and Darius. So what occurred was last summer, after the Kitchenista was vigilant about exposing Darius due to the things that he did to her as well, and we'll get into that in a different video, we were all working on it. And that takes us back to when I first started putting out the Surviving Darius Crooks videos, etc. And, you know, I was doing my part in spreading the word and exposing the situation as well. Well, as we moved towards the fall, things kind of wind down a bit with a lot of us who were very active in the very beginning, with us all having our own situations that we were dealing with. Not that we had given up, not that we felt defeated or anything like that. It was just life kind of took over. And so with that, I know Darius Crooks was under the impression that we, I don't know, had been defeated or gave up, or someone got tired out. And that just wasn't the case. Emotionally, it was, you know, exhausting, just, you know, with all of the drama of hearing news stories. There was definitely some vicarious trauma fatigue going on for the majority of us who were, like, you know, in the forefront of the fight. So definitely with that. So there was a little bit of that, but also life where we needed to just handle some things, because it took us all by surprise how deep the rabbit hole went. And whereas we thought, hey, we'll just collect this information and we'll share information amongst each other and then, you know, spread the word and expose him, it was a like never ending, and still isn't. This is literally, we're almost at the 1-year anniversary of when the Kitchenista first really started exposing Darius and put this on a national platform, and we are still getting new stories. Like, this rabbit hole goes deep. So that caught us all, literally all of us, by surprise. So where Danielle comes into play with this is that she was a part of that whole movement then, and you know, doing her part and spreading the word and exposing and using, you know, her social medias to spread the word. And she even had an Instagram page where she was basically archiving on a daily basis historical information, but as well as present day antics that Darius was up to. So when we died down and Darius Crooks was under the impression that things had just kind of faded off, the only person who was still very consistent and diligent on a major level with airing out and exposing Darius was Danielle in using her platforms. In my opinion, what I really think happened was that Darius thought everyone is gone, I've defeated everyone, and the only person I got left is that woman over there or that person over there who is blasting and airing me out on a daily basis. He calls it bullying, when in all actuality, it's really her advocating for the victims and, you know, being a truth teller. It's really all that it was, and reporting. And so Darius, through the works of, I'm sure his D-wives and all of that, they finally figured out who was behind that account. And they found that it was Danielle Hollands. And they'll get into their story as I do this reaction. But long story short, once he found out who she was, he decided to air her out, put her picture as his profile picture on his social media platforms, change his name to Danielle Hollands, and then send a note saying, tell her husband, Don Vaughn, he said hi. He posted a picture of her children, and those pictures are still up, and he refuses to take them down. And even when Roland Martin addressed Darius on Twitter in regards to having the children's pictures up, Darius's response was, F those kids. So again, this is the person we're talking about. So you can have, an opinion on either side of how you feel about whether or not he should have doxed Danielle and outed her because she was telling the truth about him, or even just archiving the truths about him. It wasn't like she was making up anything at all. But wherever you fall on the spectrum of whether you think it was fine for her to do it, or whether you think, well, she did that, he had the right to, dox her and put her picture on his profile and do all the shenanigans. Either way, what I think you can't argue with is that her children, vulnerable, innocent children, do not deserve to be caught up in this and potentially put in harm's way by having their photos out there. And he has a large following. Don't know if it's that 1.3 million that he claims, but because those are bought, we'll talk about that later. But either way, we know he has at least tens of thousands of followers, because I have tens of thousands. So he has more than me for sure, because he's been doing it for a decade. So with tens of thousands of followers, at least, you're putting out pictures of vulnerable, innocent children, giving the location of where their parents live. In my opinion, you are putting those children in danger. And so that's just a little background and my little 2 cents on that piece of it. But what we're going to do is watch a piece of the Hollands being interviewed by Roland Martin. And I'm going to stop it here or there and give my commentary. So giving you a warning, I don't want to hear you kept stopping. I couldn't watch it. This ain't Roland Martin's channel. If you want to watch the full video uninterrupted with my shenanigans, I will have the full video linked below in my description area. And so click on that if you want to watch it without my interruptions. Other than that, I'm going to be interrupting as I feel the need to. So with that, let's get into this video. And also like this one, like mine on this channel, Randomness of Vell. Like this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Now let's get into it.
Social media. So when this all came about on February 16th, she kind of reminded me of who this guy was. But I would remember she had talked about the pattern that this one of the people that she was following would do, right? And the pattern was being disrespectful to black women.
Disrespectful to black women.
Was being there was information about him being
Definitely a scammer.
If any customer, if anybody opposed him, he would block them. Well, first he would ridicule them, he would talk down to them, and then he would block them.
That's the pattern.
Right? So when this came about, light bulb popped in my head. I'm like, okay, well, this is the guy. But again, I had no clue of who he was, what he does. I mean, I'm not even in this space, right? I mean, this was... when I got involved in this thing, I mean, I hadn't sent a tweet in 5 years, right? So when all of this occurred, when he had doxed us, I went ahead and I actually was, Danielle will tell you, I was like kind of irritated. I was like really irritated about it. I'm like, why are we even in this space? Like, what happened? Why are my children on the internet? Why is this guy coming at us? So I told her, I said, you know what? We're going to shut our social media down. Let's go dark for a minute. But again, he was going live. He was just ridiculing. He was ridiculing us. He was talking about, I got her kids. I got her kids' information. Tell Don Vaughn I said hello, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he was literally just verbally assaulting us over the internet.
And boasting that he figured out who I was.
Yeah, and boasting that he figured out who she was.
So this part is very true. Like, their story is true, period. But this part, I actually remember Darius thought that he had gotten the best of Danielle, and in his words, as he posted on his social media, as he said, "This is how you clear a bitch," in response to Danielle Hollands, because when she went dark, based on Don Vaughn here, her husband, saying, he was like, you know, we didn't know what to do. We now have been blasted on Darius's multiple platforms with, you know, tens of thousands of followers. And, you know, they're getting responses and things of that nature, and they didn't know what to do. So immediately they just went dark. So they, you know, closed their accounts or whatever, temporarily pulled them down. And so Darius assumed that that meant, oh, I got her. And so now she's running and hiding. Well, no, that was her and her husband doing what they needed to do, which was shutting it down for a minute, removing themselves so that they could strategize. And so this is what we get into. And again, all of this while it was happening, you have those of us who were part of the original coalition from last summer, you know, who started to build up after the Kitchenista, really started to expose Darius, and we started to have her back because people were trying to act like she was making stuff up, or she was just, you know, she was out of her mind and things of that nature, when the truth was she was a black woman who was very passionate, not only about protecting herself, but protecting other black women, because she then saw exactly what Danielle is, and her husband, well, Danielle specifically, is describing here on the Roland Martin interview. Again, so in the background, those of us in the coalition, myself included, are watching, and we're watching this stuff play out with Darius and Danielle Hollands. And mind you, while I was on hiatus from Darius Crook's stuff and just working on my real life, I was watching and paying attention to Danielle's Instagram page and you know, kind of keeping up to date and abreast of what was going on via her post. So I was very aware of her existence and very aware of the hard work that she was continuing to do in our absence, and you know, reached out to her a couple times and thanked her for continuing to work. So that's where we were. So now let's key back into where the Hollands were in their head once this all came to a head.
So I'd say about, you know, 1:30, 2 o'clock that morning, Roland, I was hot, man. I mean, I was hot. I'm like, I got too much to lose. You know, I got a household, I got family, I got people that depend on me to, you know, people that work for me. You know, I can't lose it, right? But that was your first instinct. I don't know if you have children or anybody that's watching that have children. You know, all bets are off when children are
all bets are off when it comes to the
young
kids.
Children. And so I had to master extreme emotion because I wanted to go back to my old Detroit roots, but I couldn't. So about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, I sent my first tweet that I hadn't sent. Because I don't tweet. You know, I mean, I had a Twitter account, but I hadn't sent any tweets for 5-6 years. So I sent a tweet, and I posted a picture of us, and I says, you know, Darius, this is Don Von Holland, husband of Danielle. You posted my family, you posted me. I need to understand why you did this. Please give me a call. So I'm like, you know what? If this guy, I'm going to get ahead of this guy. You know, because I know he's used to posting telephone numbers. He's used to posting personal things. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to dox myself. So I says, I need you to give me a call. I put my personal cell phone number out there. It says 313-330-4992. I need for you to call me. So, and I think I sent a couple other tweets after that.
And so this part I remember too, because what Don Vaughn is talking about in regards to doxing himself. And I think that was a major chess move on his part. And for a person who's not really connected to social media, as he said, he hadn't tweeted in years, That was an epic moment. So much so that I had so many people sending me, screenshots, those of you who are supporters as well as, friends and family members, etc. Like, okay, Darius, he's got some heat on him. He got a, as they say, a hashtag forever problem. It was epic. And even the video, and I think I posted it. Actually, now that I remember, in my trailer for season 2 of Surviving Darius Crooks, I actually used the clip from Don Vaughn telling Darius, hey, I need you to give me a call. We need to talk about this. And and basically, yes, you have a forever problem. So, yeah, I remember this, and many of you will remember this as well. Those of you who've been following this whole Darius Crooks situation for a while, you will definitely remember this as well. But let's get back into this.
And then the next morning, we got up, we were moving around, we were still hot, trying to figure out what we're going to do about this. And I believe that Danielle had saw that he was live, and this guy had actually was telling his followers that, yeah, I talked to her husband, I had a conversation with him, told him what his wife was doing, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this guy is,
yeah,
something's up with this guy. So I did another video, and I says, Darius, you said that we had a conversation. You haven't.
But to rewind before that, actually, I remember I shut my Twitter down
the
night before because I was receiving, crazy messages and stuff. So I shut my Twitter down for about 5-6 hours, and we wake up to the morning. What Don just said happened afterwards, but the first thing we saw in the morning was someone sent us an Instagram post from him saying,
oh yeah, that's right.
That's how you clear a
BITCH.
I remember that. I was just telling you.
So he thought his attempt was to basically, he wanted to threaten me. He wanted to shut me up. He wanted to scare me. He wanted to send me into a dark hole somewhere. And he thought he successfully had did that. So he boastfully made a post, smiling and saying, that's how you clear a BITCH out.
Right. So now we fast forward, and then that's when the Instagram Live, he was on Instagram Live, and then he stated what he stated in regards to actually having a conversation with me. So I did a video, I tweeted my second or third tweet, and I says, Darius, you stated that you had a conversation with me. You stated that that we talked, and I says, you know what, my phone has been ringing, but it hasn't been you. I says, you have an extreme, vivid imagination. I mean, this man actually imagined an entire conversation.
He ain't imagine. He lied.
Actually,
he's
verbatimly read that conversation off to his followers.
Well, he didn't imagine.
Thank you, Danielle. He lied.
Yeah, he lied. Right. That's what I'm saying.
So the two of you never had a conversation, but he put it out. But he put it out there that he did. Have the two of you taken any action, any civil action? Have you taken anything asking to have him take things down? Has been any action have you taken against him?
Yes. As far as taking, I mean, I've gotten, I've went the route of, with people that I know and or whatnot, where resources that I've been trying to use, we've filed a local police report. It is currently in the prosecutor's office. I'm in the discussions with the prosecutor right now on a local level here in Michigan.
Good.
We've also had conversations with some folks in the DOJ, and it's funny that I didn't understand that this actually falls in the guidelines of Homeland Security in this matter, and we've reached out to the FBI, and naturally we followed the process of where you report things on Twitter, you report things on Instagram, you report things on Facebook. However, that has not worked because my children's pictures are still on his Twitter.
And he refuses to delete them.
And he refuses to delete them. So, and this is why, I really kind of got into this battle. Number one, I got in the battle because of my children and my family, my wife. And then number two, as I started getting into the fat meat of this whole situation, there's really no real process that's in place on the local police department level, because there was someone else that was here in Michigan that had a certain situation with him, and they had went and tried to file a police report, but the Detroit Police Department kind of just threw it out, said, you know what, you don't have a case. However, in the zip code that we live in, they are kind of like really diligent on trying to push it through. I mean, and that's the thing. I started getting into the fat meat of this. Is like, what is the real process to report somebody on a local level? Where can people go instead of like reporting it, cyberbullying on, you know, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter? Like, what is the actual process that's in place? Which really, it's almost like it's zip code specific, you know?
So this is the other piece, what Don Vaughn is talking about. Again, because there's a lot of, you know, questions, people in the comments, and I get it. I get it because people don't, this is new information to many people. They have not known of, some people haven't heard of Darius at all before this situation, or before seeing, you know, one of my videos or one of the many other YouTube videos that are out there or posts on social media, etc. They may not be familiar, but this is a situation that I've personally been aware of for over a decade, and actively knowledgeable about, you know, things that have happened and things that have happened with other people, and all the, you know, the nitty gritty ugly pieces of this. And I've fully been ingrained in this whole situation for almost a year now. And so I get that this is new to many people. And so the comments that I see, you know, I try to take with a grain of salt, where people are asking questions or giving advice as if people haven't thought to take legal action or haven't thought to contact the authorities at all. Like, we're all sitting here twiddling our thumbs and trying to figure out, you know, how to get some action, and the only thing we thought of was to get on social media. That is not the case. There's real work, and I've said, like, you can quote me and literally go back to my very beginning videos regarding Darius Crooks from a year ago, and you'll see that I've said there is real work happening behind the scenes. There has always been real work happening behind the scenes. However, these things don't move as fast as people think they do. And there are loopholes, and many of them Darius Crooks has been aware of. He always, because he's a penny scammer, as Sonny Anderson once said, and I love to quote that, he's a penny scammer. And so he always operates, or attempts to operate, right below the threshold of what would be criminal, in the sense of gotcha, like we're gonna kick down your door and grab you right away. He always operates below that. However, he has such a pattern over a decade of these penny scams that in of itself, and across the country, that in of itself creates felonies. And then you have the bank fraud, the wire fraud, the postal fraud, the list goes on and on. You know, all these other crimes that he's committed that are federal crimes, but they have to add up. And so that's kind of where we are. And trust me, there's real work happening. But as you see, even with the Hollands, yes, they're tweeting. Yes, they have their #ForeverProblem. And, you know, they're bringing attention and awareness, but they are doing real work. They're talking to legislators and things of that nature. There's real work happening behind there. So under this video, there's no need to comment like, why y'all not calling the authorities? You know, all that stuff. And the other piece is, when authorities are getting involved in these sort of situations, they have to do their research. They don't take what you submit just at face value and say, oh, well, based on what you've submitted, we're going to go get them now. No, they want to have, you know, your receipts, but then they're going to do their due diligence and go behind and basically reinvent the wheel. That's just how they work. And when it comes to the FBI and their involvement in situations like this, the FBI has over a 98% or so, it's in the 90% plus conviction rate. And so they don't just randomly go jumping and grabbing people off the street. They will work years to build an ironclad case against someone, so that when they take them to court, it's a done deal. And so there are plenty of examples of that. You have R. Kelly, look how many years it's taken for that. Bill Cosby, yes, he ended up getting out through a technicality, but look how many years that took. And it wasn't like he was never on their radar. And then Jussie Smollett, you know, that's more recent. That even took a couple years. And then Tim Norman. Tim Norman is a case that I've followed nearly almost since the beginning of this channel, almost. And even with that, it took them 4 years to arrest him. He still hasn't even faced this day in court. And so why people think that this situation could go so much quicker, I don't even get it. I think it's people just aren't well informed when it comes to these sort of things. So we're talking about cases and situations that have taken decades. The feds ain't been quite looking at him a whole decade. Couple years, yes. Decades, no. But trust me, his day is coming. His day is definitely coming. So let's get back into this for the last part of this segment.
So your complaint is still in the hands of the DA's office.
Yes,
exactly. And no decision has actually been made on that. Last question for y'all. Have y'all heard from other people who have similar complaints with regards to Darius Cooks-Williams?
Absolutely. I mean, we get flooded with inboxes of people that have had situations in dealing with him. As a matter of fact, there are people that have been coming specifically in my inbox stating that they were afraid to come out because of what he does. I mean, they don't really have any, you know, I'm not going to say they don't have a fight in them. They just necessarily don't know what to do to try to fight this whole process. So that's the thing. I'm actually trying to figure out how I can help them and what do we need to do. So it's like I'm kind of guiding the individuals that's in my inbox on what they need to do and follow the steps and the protocols that we are trying to do, you know, that we're doing. So yeah, we get tons of people that reach out to us saying, hey, this happened to me. Hey, this guy blocked me. Hey, this guy owes me money. Hey, what do I need to do? You know, and that's the thing. It's like, man, I cannot really, it's like I got into the fat meat of this and it's like, man, this guy is like a predator.
He's currently on his best behavior,
Definitely a
trying
predator.
to issue refunds and do customer service on live because of the heat that's been under him recently as far as, you know, your show and the hashtag Darius Crooks on Twitter, as well as Randy Travis's Fox 5 Atlanta 2-part segment. And so whereas people would normally get blocked or ignored when they're asking about a refund or products not received, he is on social media refunding people and answering any inquiries, whereas that's not his normal stance.
So this part is very interesting as well. Another point that Danielle is making, because again, remember, she's been around since, you know, the beginning of this coalition, beginning of this movement. So she's very well informed and well versed on this subject matter. And so she says that now, after the Fox 5 Atlanta segments on him and now Roland Martin reporting on him, all of a sudden Darius in his Instagram lives is all of a sudden Mr. Nice Guy, and he is, you know, answering inquiries about these missing orders and issuing refunds. And I'm seeing posts, and I'm gonna put something together, I'm gonna figure it out. But people are posting that he is actually giving refunds to people who he's been ignoring for 2 years. And it's just crazy, a year or more, but one was as long as 2 years ago. And many of them are very old, months and months, like not 2 months, not 3 months, but, you know, 6, 8, 12 months old refunds because he's been ignoring the people. But if he doesn't respond to them, these are more people who potentially come out and end up on somebody's news segment or in one of my videos, and whoever else is airing it out and creating their own TikTok videos about how he scammed them. So now he's trying to play cleanup. However, what Danielle, well, for one, this is the problem I have with his method of cleanup, to me, which shows his level of unprofessionalism and sloppy business practices, because in order to get these refunds that some people are getting, now he ain't doing no mass refunds. It's you reach out to him when you can catch him, and if he's in that mood, you might get a refund, you might get a response. There is no proof that he's actually really refunded. I think a couple people said they actually got it, recently from, you know, the interaction, but there's no guarantee that just because he's answering in these posts that he's actually doing it, because that's how he operates too, smoke and mirrors. But I said all that to say the sloppy business practices of this, as a person who has run companies in management and all of that, with customer service and working with clients, your clients and customers shouldn't only have the ability to reach you through social media when you're on it, or through your Instagram lives while you're on video, gossiping and eating. That's the only time that they can get in touch with you. Because the truth of the matter is, if you were answering them via email, like the majority of them have inquired on via email, if you were answering those emails or even had a real legitimate business set up with employees and customer service, or even one person to run that piece of it, it would never have gotten to this point. It would never be you having to answer those questions in social media posts or on an Instagram live. That makes no sense. And to whoever that does make sense to, these people who post, ooh, well, that's showing how professional and how good he is because he answering even on social media. And that's where he's at. And that's where we learned about him. So that's where he should be answering the questions, because that's where we found him, was on social media. You sound a fucking fool. You sound a fool. He's still a business. He still has a business. Business is not conducted via Instagram lives. That means you gotta wait, because there's no set time that he goes on every day. It's when he feels like it throughout the day. It's, you know, when he feels like it's time to love bomb his people and gaslight them, that's when he hops on. So you can't even say, well, as long as I get on tomorrow at 9 or 10 or 5 p.m., I'm gonna catch him. That's not how that works. So you gotta play double dutch trying to get in to get him. Hope he's in the mood, that he doesn't just automatically block you for even bringing up an order or tell you this ain't the time for it. You sound a fool. And again, that's a cult. So I don't even know why I'm getting passionate about that piece of it. But again, to Danielle's point, it's an act. It's an act. This is going to last for, you know, a couple days or whatever, or a day. It might already be over. It's going to last as long as he feels that he can play the role, and he won't be able to do it long because his ego can't take it. But the other piece is that part ain't new as well, because I know Danielle's saying this because she knows that he did the same thing last summer. So she knows that Darius has done this act before, every time the heat gets hot on him. And last summer was kind of the first time we started to see it, was when he got blasted through an article in Southern Grit. He then had, there was Black Enterprise, Forbes magazine, Yahoo, and a bunch of other media outlets started to just pick up the story and regurgitate was already put out there, and hard work that Southern Grit and Black Enterprise, they did the most research. They then, with that, Darius then felt that heat. This heat that they're bringing this time around, this is like video media coverage. This is news coverage. It's taking it up a notch. And so he does that when the heat gets hot. It's really just his way of trying to smolder the flames so that hopefully it'll die down enough that then everyone will be distracted. Like, look over here. No, look over there. That's the type of tactics that this whole nice guy act. He cannot keep it up because he's not a nice person. So trust me. Trust me. I'll have other footage for that. Like, you know, somebody's going to post something soon I'll be able to share with you guys to show the contrast of where we are right now with Mr. Nice Guy versus his normal narcissistic, a-hole, predatory behavior. It'll be back. Trust me. He can't hold it long. Not a good person. All right, so let's get back into this for the last couple minutes of it. Let's see what they're talking about.
Let's this point back again, because his stance on his reasoning for going after Danielle was because she harassed me for 9 months. Roland, you know as well as I do that the definition of harassment and the definition of awareness is totally two different things.
True.
Right? Danielle was literally spreading awareness to other women.
Yep. Spreading awareness.
Right? About his hypocrisy. This guy is a predator to our aunts, This guy's a predator to our mothers, our grandmothers, our sisters.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the thing. And again, she had to do it in strict anonymity because of the way he operates.
Yeah, I think in the week that I was doxxed, I was, I believe, the fourth woman that he doxxed. Or fourth, I shouldn't say woman, because it was a couple, the people that owned the Airbnb in Texas. He doxed them. He doxed myself. He doxed a young lady who did a chargeback regarding one of his Dining with Darius events. He put her private information out there as well as her brother's. And he put a young lady who he hired to do the cleaning services after one of his dinners, who he hired, I believe, off of Craigslist. He put her private information out there as well. So within a week's time, I was like the fifth person.
I missed the cleaning lady doxing.
Well, this is certainly disturbing.
He was on a rampage that week.
Several times to come on the show to discuss these allegations. Still waiting for him to accept that invitation. I do know
he ain't coming on your show, Martin.
17th, we've been on these four regarding that restraining order, so we'll be covered to see what happens
May
as well.
17th.
So we appreciate both of you joining us.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you, Roland Martin, once again for using your platform to bring awareness to this predator. Also, Danielle mentioned, and it brought back to my memory, the doxing he did of the doxing that Darius did of the couple who owned the Airbnb that he destroyed, messed up their electrical system, and then pulled out their appliances and all other, foolishness that he was doing. I remember that because someone sent it to me, and I was actually out that day going to the theater, and what was it? Oh, that was Valentine's Day weekend. So I was out with the boo. And so I remember, all of that happening, and I was trying to follow it, but also, had to have my focus on the evening as well. And so I plan to still do a video on that to break that down for those of you who may not be aware. But basically, Darius was having one of his illegal Dining with Darius events in this person's house. He claims that he told the lady and got permission to host this party and have 30-something people in her home. However, she was not aware. And when he blew their circuit breaker and contacted the homeowner tried to send an electrician to the house. Darius would not allow the electrician in because he didn't want the electrician to see that he had commercial appliances set up in this lady's house. And of course, the tables and chairs and all of that, because then the electrician would have told the owner. And so he refused to let the electrician in. The owners then contacted the police to have him removed. Darius, being the gaslighter and the predator that he is, then went on his live so that he could gaslight his D-wives and flipped the story to be that he has no idea why the owner is putting him out. Their house is raggedy. He's pointing out cracks in the at the cabinets between where the cabinet and the ceiling, the kitchen cabinets and the ceilings meet, all that kind of stuff. So I caught that piece of it, and that's bad enough. That's bad enough because you're lying on people. But he does that all the time. You got a gaslight, you're trying to keep that money coming in. Can't tell the truth like, oh, I attempted to have this illegal event in this lady's house. I got caught up because I was being an asshole, and now she wants me out of her house because she realized my scam. Can't tell the truth because that's going to affect his bottom line. Might make some people wake up out of their trance of being DWIs. So instead, he flips the narrative, blames her. He's on Instagram Live, playing the victim as he always does when he does someone wrong and gets caught up and gets stuck between a rock and a hard place. Then to make it add insult to all of that for this lady who, just trying to make an honest living using your property as an Airbnb, he then puts her and her, I don't know, it was two names, and I'm assuming it was her and maybe her husband's name and full phone number on his social media and instructs his cult to call them and harass them. And what did the cult do? They called them and harassed them. And there's a post there. And even, I want to say it was maybe in the Fox Atlanta 5. Yeah, it was in the Fox Atlanta 5 second segment, part 2 of them covering Darius Crooks, where Randy Travis actually shares that story. So again, once again, you just get to see how horrible of a person he is. He's soulless. What happened? But so that's that. So I wanted to share this. There's just so much. My brain is all over the place because I got all of the stuff that you guys don't even know about yet in my head, and videos I've recorded that got to be edited that are related to this, and then stuff that's not related. So my brain is a little, and it's getting kind of late, isn't it? It's like 9:56 p.m. It's like my bedtime. But I definitely want to do this reaction video because I want to get this out to you guys this week, along with some other things. So I wanted to get this recorded tonight because, you know, the Holland story has been out for a little over a month or so now, I think. And so I wanted to share this because it was timely. And it's a way to share their story because they were also on my list of stories to share, along with a ton others that I haven't gotten to yet. So with that, that is all for now. I'm going to definitely have some call to actions that I'm going to start including in these videos because, as you see from the Holland's interview with Roland Martin, as well as Melanie's Ford, who was in his first coverage of this, there are processes that are occurring, but there's also a level of alignment that, you know, it would be good for the masses to have. And so there are action steps that we can all be taking, whether you're directly related to, you know, the situation of being scammed by him or not. There are still actions you can take because the truth is that all of you are consumers, just as I am. And so you have the right to report people who are victimizing and using platforms for evil purposes, basically. So I'll add it in. I'll figure it out. I need to, you know, organize the call to action. But there's definitely and I will find it, because there's definitely a petition out to deplatform Darius Cooks off of social media platforms. That petition has been out. I think it's sign.org. I think it is. But that petition has been out for at least 8 months or something like that. And so I'll share that. That'll be in my description area below. And then I will start to link the government agencies as well. So yeah, I'll start doing that in the future videos. This video, I'm gonna link as much as I can think to link, but I'll organize that. So with that, that brings this video to a close. If you are new to this channel and to these videos, etc., there's more to come. There's so much more in relation to this story. I cannot even begin to sum it up for you guys of what's to come. But also, as I've said before, although it may not look like it for the past couple weeks, this channel is more than just about Darius Crooks, Darius Travoy Williams, and there's so much more to come in relation to other infamous social media influencers, as well as, you know, people of note. And we have some other series, our Welcome to Sweetie Pie's series. And I'm assuming that also at some point during this summer, we should be gearing up for the Welcome to Sweetie Pie's Tim Norman case for hiring someone to take the life of his nephew. Well, it was a group of people. So that trial should be starting soon, and I will be covering that as well. So this could be the place to come and get some commentary on that. But yeah, so much more to come. So I said all that to say, it's late, so I'm rambling, but I said all that to say, this would be a great time to hit that subscribe button below so that you can become a part of this journey that we're on of awareness. And also remember to like this video below to help this channel grow. And also don't forget about our VIP text community where you can interact with me one-on-one via text, as well as be the first in the know of many of the things happening behind the scenes on this channel, as well as what's to come with the Patreon. And you'll get to be a part of the team as I start to put together content and basically the structure of the Patreon. I will be workshopping that with my VIP text community. So if you want to be a part of that, just send me a text message and say hi. And then that automatically makes you a part of our VIP text community. And also don't forget that you can follow me on all social media platforms at IAmVellB. And that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at IAmVellB. And with that, until next time, until I upload the next video, make sure to take care and be blessed. Peace.
Poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rent do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I'm fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jets. Save a couple hundred by your with the rest.